Welcome to the Career Disruptor Advantage weekly live show. I'm your host, Nicole Andrews, also known as the Career Disruptor. And I'm talking today about something that I literally think could be life changing for anyone who's listening to this replay or if you're here live. These 5 questions that I'm about to share with you can literally transform everything for you. And the reason being is we always are trying to find the answers. I have people come to me because they're trying to find their vision. They're trying to clarify their purpose. They're trying to figure out what that next dream job is. They are trying to, if their organization can seeking out my consulting services, they're trying to maybe develop their leaders or find out how to create a more inclusive workplace. But those are answers, right? They're trying to find answers. What I want you to do today is think about questions before answers because a lot of times your answers are finite. There's limited potential in your answers and trying to find an answer. But in your question, there are infinite possibilities because when you ask a question and you sit and reflect on that question, it could open up so many different answers, so many different perspectives. Because especially if you're seeking out others' thoughts around these same questions or you're journaling about these questions daily, they can literally transform your life. So I'm going to share this is the first session of April. So I also do a book review every single month. And today's book review is going to be on Chase the Lion, which has actually inspired these questions. So if you've never seen this book, it's called Chase the Lion and it's by Mark Batterson. And the tagline is if your dream doesn't scare you, it's too small. Because it's a special Friday today for me based on my faith, I wanted to go and talk about these questions and how they align really with your purpose and trying to figure out what you really want and what you desire in this life with the life that you have. And so Chase the Lion, can't recommend it more. I read this book 3 years ago and absolutely love it. So the big takeaways from this book before I dive into the questions that were inspired by this book, and actually in the back there are some discussion questions. The biggest takeaways were about this whole concept of making a decision that can change your whole life. So Mark says that we are one idea, one decision, one risk away from a completely different life. And you've probably had people like that at work that they made a decision and it literally transformed everything for them in a positive way or in a negative way. Or maybe someone took a risk and it transformed their life in some way. So he says that we are one decision, one risk, one idea away from a completely different life. The other big takeaway from this book, Chase the Lion by Mark Batterson, is we have to have dreams that are so scary and so big that we alone cannot achieve them. That it takes something else to help push us forward and drive us forward and open up those doors to see those dreams come true. And so I love that whole concept about, it's not just about our own ability. It is about like what is the dream that scares you so much that you can't achieve this alone. It is that big and you actually don't even know how you're going to achieve that dream. Or if you're a company and you're thinking about, we really want to scale our business, we really want to be able to hire and support more people, and we want to be able to support more clients. How are we going to do that? You have to have something that's so big and so innovative and so creative that it's going to take more than just your natural capabilities to fulfill that dream. And so that's another big takeaway. And I'm going to dive into the questions. So, question number one that I want you to think about from Mark is he said, you're one idea, one risk, one decision away from a completely different life. And it will probably be the toughest decision you'll ever make and the scariest risk you ever take. But if your dream doesn't scare you, it's too small. What is the first idea that comes to your mind when you think about following a dream? So that is the first question. You can literally journal about this every day for 30 days, and I promise you it will spark new insights for you. But what is the first idea that comes to your mind when you think about following a dream of yours? Think about that. For me, my big scary dream was jumping into entrepreneurship. And especially at a time when The economy was shifting. We don't know exactly, are we up, are we down? And it was a risky proposition for me to do that, but I had been building it for 4 years. So, it's not something that I did haphazardly or impulsively. It's something that I had been building on the side in the background for several years before I decided to take the leap. And I actually worked with my own coach, even though I'm a coach. I worked with my own coach to help me, and a paid coach, to help me get to that decision and stick to that decision, because I knew alone I may back out. I may be scared. And she really helped me with my mindset and really helped me identify and work within the strategy that I had created for myself on how I was going to exit. And it was something that, again, I needed some support because I knew that that dream was so big for me to take that leap that alone I would not do it myself, right? I would not make that next step. So that's the first question that I want you to think about that can be life changing. What is that idea that comes to your mind when you think about following your dream? Are you scared? Is it so big that you're like, I can't do this? This is impossible. This is not something that I've seen anyone else do. Or maybe I'm trying to do something in a totally different way, but everyone's trying to box you in. I want you to think about that question and reflect on it. Question number two is, why is it important for you to dream beyond your abilities? Why is it important for you to dream beyond your abilities? This one excites me, and I'm going to talk about Amy Purdy. So, if you haven't heard of Amy, Amy Purdy, Purdy, she is a Paralympic snowboarder. She has won several medals. She is also someone who is a motivational speaker. She speaks across the world. She is also a New York Times best-selling author. And what I love about Amy's story is at 19, she was actually diagnosed. She had flu-like symptoms and had to be rushed to the hospital. I think she actually stayed at home for a few days thinking that it was just a normal cold. And she ended up going into the hospital a few days later and had a 2% chance of survival, you all. A 2% chance of survival. They ended up having to remove both of her legs below the knee, and all of her dreams immediately flashed before her eyes. How am I going to snowboard? How am I going to do all the things that I said I was going to do? How am I going to travel the world? And I've heard Amy on several summits that I've attended or podcasts that I've listened to, and she is just one of the most amazing people, human beings, just because of her story. She went on to become one of the most awarded, as I said before, Paralympic snowboarders in the world, which is hard to do, hard for any human being to do, whether they have their legs, their limbs or not. And she was able to do that. So this question about, why is it important for you to dream beyond your ability? Maybe it's not a physical limitation that you have. Maybe it's not a mental or emotional block. Maybe for you, it's something else. It could be a financial limitation. It could be you don't have the connections, the network to grow your business the way that you thought you would, or to expand into this dream job, this dream company that you've always wanted to work for. Whatever it is, what is your limitation? And I want you to think about, why is it important for you to dream beyond that ability? Because that's where faith comes in. And my faith is very important to me. And it does tie back to career and business, because you have to have faith that things will work out, that things will work in your good. And for me, that's always been something that's my foundation, whether I talk about it all of the time or not. That's my foundation. That's what I want people to see, is that light. So I want you to dream beyond your ability. What is that for you? What is something that you feel is important enough for you to dream beyond your ability, because you know it's going to take something else to make that dream come true? The third question that I want you to think about, Mark actually quoted someone named Graham Greene in his book, and this comes from your childhood. And there is always one moment in childhood when the door opens and lets the future in. What moment in childhood, even if small, would you point to as a time that let in your future dream? So, what is a moment in your childhood where you felt like this let in your future dream? Maybe you were someone who always drew and you always designed things, and then when you got older, people told you that you couldn't make money doing that, and so you stopped. Maybe you are someone who is always the one planning every activity, planning every event for the vacation that your family took, or local things that you wanted your family to do. Maybe you were someone who was the one who was the encourager, right? You gave people hope, you gave them encouragement, and you were the one who made them laugh. You made everyone laugh at the dinner table all the time. But you, again, got older and you lost that imagination because you felt like you could not earn a living doing something like this, or that wasn't realistic. So that moment when your childhood let your future in for me was I used to bring students in. I would learn something at school that week, and I would actually bring in other kids from my neighborhood and try to teach them everything that I learned. So it was something at the time I didn't realize was this is something that I'm going to be doing. Even though I'm a coach and consultant, at the core of who I am, I teach. I teach everything that I know. I teach if I learn something new, or I teach based on my experience. I teach based on my years of education. I teach based on me just always learning, always reading, always just connecting dots in ways that I haven't heard other people connect the dots in that way because it's my own unique way of thinking. And you have that too. There may be something that you're connecting that I wouldn't be able to connect because you have your own unique mindset and way of thinking. So I want you to think about what is that thing in your childhood that you did that you absolutely loved. For me, it was teaching. For me, it was bringing in people and sharing my knowledge. And for me, it was coaching. I even coached my crazy family members at times because I would see things. And even at 5, 6, 7 years old, I would say, you need to do better. You need to do something different. Why are you doing this? And at the time, again, that wasn't necessarily coaching because that's not what coaches do, right? But we do see things in others. We see the potential in others that maybe they don't even see in themselves. As a consultant, I see the potential in a company that maybe they don't even see in themselves. But it's hard because they have to, at some point, get there with me, or it's going to be hard for me to support their vision. Same thing with a coach, with a client. If I'm coaching, my goal is to see their potential and hold that candle, hold that vision for them. So that way they can eventually get there and then run with that thing beyond anything that I could ever do for them, right? They can run with it and achieve so many things even beyond the coaching because they now are holding that vision for themselves. And the same thing with a company, but they have to eventually meet you there, or it's going to be a struggle for you to support them in getting there. So that was question number 3. Question number 4 is okay, this is one of my favorites because it's so common in our culture. Mark writes about how our culture is focused on 15 minutes of fame rather than a long obedience in the same direction. In what ways do you think that attitude has affected the pursuit of your dreams? So basically, Mark talks about having a long obedience in the same direction, a focus, a consistent focus in the same direction. For me, I look at that as delayed gratitude and long term thinking. Are you someone that has tried something? Maybe you've tried a dream that you had before. Maybe you've shared an idea at your company before that wasn't accepted, it was rejected. Maybe you had an innovative idea for a service or a product, or maybe you had a dream to do something in the world, like maybe you wanted to write your own book, maybe you wanted to go and do missionary work and sell everything that you had. But the attitude of, well, if it's not, I can't see how I can do that now, or if it's not happening quick enough. We live in a society that wants everything to be quick. We want it to be now. We want it to be a get rich quick kind of scheme. And I don't even coach around that. When I have people who come to me, and I've had just a few people who have asked, "Hey, do you help people find their dream job?" Deep down, yes, the answer is yes, but that's not the first goal. The first goal, like, because you can find a dream job and in a year that job may be a nightmare, or some leadership changes may happen and then you no longer like the job because you're not working for a leader that really supports you, or advocates for you, or sees your potential, right? Or maybe you just you have this whole idea of I need to have this business take off right now, and it's not taking off, and so you quit. It's okay to quit. It's okay, like, if you have to take a step back and go back somewhere to just support your family or to provide again. But I don't want you to ever lose sight of that dream. And what happens is most people, they just don't have the delayed gratification to see it through until the end. They just want it now. They want to get rich now. They want the dream job now. They want, and there's more to it than that, right? For me, it's who are you and what is your purpose? What is your unique difference? What are all of the possibilities? And how do we then narrow that down into something that really fits you versus you trying to find a dream job that 2 years later, 5 years later, you're going to hate? So I look at things more from a long term perspective because I want my clients not to, yes, I want them to have quick wins now, and they do, but I want to make sure that they have long-term career possibilities and career mobility because they've thought through all of those things. So, what are you? Are you a 15 minutes of fame or a long, long obedience in the same direction? You have to have that focus, that delayed gratification, and saying that I am going to do whatever I can before I quit on my dream to see this thing through. So the next question, and again, if you are tuning in, this is Chase the Lion by Mark Batterson, and I'm doing a book review, but I'm also talking about the 5 most important questions that can change your life that are actually from this very book that was a part of changing my life several years ago when I read it and had this dream of leaping into entrepreneurship. So the fifth question that I want you to ask yourself is, Mark writes that until the pain of staying the same becomes more acute, more difficult, more challenging than the pain of change, nothing happens in our life. So if you are in a situation right now where you're feeling stuck or you're feeling dissatisfied or you're feeling demotivated, until the pain of staying the same, for me, for example, if I wanted to take a step into entrepreneurship, eventually the pain had to become so unbearable that it's like, okay, I know I have this dream in me of making a bigger impact across multiple companies. I know I have this dream of making an impact one on one or through my courses and memberships for women in this world and for also companies and their leaders. But how can I do that if I don't take this step and really build something of my own? So my potential is not limited, or people don't box me into their version of who they think I am or what they think my abilities are in the workplace or my talents are. I can actually use all of my talents and, really work in my zone of genius. And so the pain of not being able to do that became so unbearable that I had to take this risk. I had to take this leap even if it doesn't or didn't work out, right? I had to still take the risk and take the leap to see for myself. And I also know that it's a long-term game, as we talked about in the last question. So, what is that thing for you? Are you in a job where you're like, I love the company, but I don't love this role, and the pain of being in that role one more year is just so unbearable for you that you have to make a change. You just don't know how, but you know that you have to make a change. So the question for that is, would you say the pain of staying the same or the pain of change seems more dangerous to you in your life today? So is the pain of staying the same more dangerous or the pain of change? I believe that life's magic is in the unknown. I have no idea because it's so beyond my ability. The dream size vision that I have for my business, which is why it's called Nicole Andrews International, is because I have a dream size business of working with clients throughout the world. I have a dream size vision, sorry, of working with companies around the world. But right now, I'm not there. I'm not there. So the pain of staying the same or the pain of change, I want you to think about what's more painful, to stay the same or to go into the unknown and do something different, try something different, grow in a different way that you've ever be stretched in a different way than you've ever been stretched before. So those were the 5 questions, but if you are here, I have a few bonus questions for you. A few bonus questions. So the first bonus question is this: do you find it easy to ask for help? And if so, why? When you think about that and reflect on that question, it can be life changing because you could literally be looking for a position right now, but the person that you have not asked for help is the person who actually knows of the opportunity that best suits your strengths, best suits your skills and your talents. You literally, if you're not asking for help, could be missing out on someone who could help you find that next dream job, or someone who has the network or connection that you need to know that will lead to something else in the long run that you absolutely will love, but you're not asking for help. Or you've only asked for help once or twice, and maybe some people didn't really help you, or they gave you advice, but it really wasn't that helpful. Or maybe they gave you great advice, but you didn't act on it. It works both ways. Um, how can you ask for help right now with something that you need? Anything. How can you ask for help right now? So that question alone, do you find it easy or difficult to ask for help? Most times when we're working inside of a dream that scares us, it is going to be difficult to do it alone. It's not going to be something that you can do by yourself because it is so big. You're going to have to no dream that big is ever accomplished alone. We have to ask for help in some way, shape, or form. The other bonus question that I want you to think about is, do you believe you are called to serve your own dream right now or someone else's dream? How and why? So, this question is really about, do you feel that you are not, everyone is not meant to be an entrepreneur? So maybe for you, you feel that you are being called to serve someone else's dream. Maybe it's another entrepreneur that you see what they're doing, you love what they're doing, you want to support what they're doing, you can see the vision with them. And Jamie Kern Lima talks about this in her book Believe It, that there was someone, I won't do the spoiler. So if you haven't read the book, she talked about a friend who actually worked alongside her for over 20 years in her business, trying to build it from scratch. Even when they had their last $1,000 in the bank account and they thought they were going to have to shut the business down and she was going to have to find a job, this person worked day and night side by side with her in her business because she believed so much in what Jamie was doing. And we know the end of that story. Jamie sold her business to L'Oreal for over $1 billion. That was a $1 billion deal. And it's not about the money, it's just about who you have to become to create something that you absolutely believe in, a business that you, and her business was formed because she had rosacea and she wanted a beauty product that didn't make her rosacea worse. And sometimes some of the makeup did not cover her rosacea at all. So she wanted to create a cosmetic product, makeup that actually covered your rosacea and actually also helped to heal your rosacea. So when I think about that, I think about the person who worked alongside her. I won't spoil it for you, but there was this very, very special gift that Jamie gave to her as a result of her working alongside her. So maybe for you, you don't want to step out on in entrepreneurship. You've never wanted to work for yourself. You just want to find a company where you can maximize your potential and you can innovate inside that company and you can almost be an entrepreneur inside the company because they support that and they love innovative thinking and they love entrepreneurial thinking. And so for you, what is that company? How can you serve their dream right now? How can you find a company that's doing some amazing things that you think align with your talents? And then the last bonus question is, who could you serve under or learn from as you pursue your dream? So that's the last bonus question. Who could you learn from or serve under as you pursue your own dream? So I have people who come to me for coaching. They join my courses or memberships because they want to learn together, either in community or they want to learn because I've been an employee. I then became, an executive, or sorry, I became an employee or an individual contributor. Then I became uh, yes, an executive, and then over time, ultimately an entrepreneur. So I've had all of these different career like transitions. And so people see that. And when I talk about career mobility, that's what I mean is how for you it may be that you're staying on the corporate track. You want to reach the executive level, or maybe you're already at the executive level, but you want to do something else, maybe that's lateral or that you want to transfer out, but you still want to stay in corporate. You just don't want to necessarily be an executive. You may want to do something totally different within corporate. Whatever it is for you, who can you learn from as you pursue your own dream that can help you keep that motivation, that can help you get the help and the connections that you need, that can help you see things from a different perspective. And so I'm going to be opening up something in a few weeks that I'd love for you to join. And it's free. It will be a free coaching week with me. And so I definitely hope that you're excited to join, and that you tell everyone that you know if they're a mid career woman who are looking for someone to support and hold that vision for them, but they just don't know if coaching has been right for them, or they just don't know what they want to do. They feel stuck. Then make sure they check out. They can either sign up at thenicoleandrews.com/career move quiz and actually get a head start, because they are learning more about their career move, what's next for them before they even come to the coaching week. Or they can join here on LinkedIn at thenicoleandrews.com/LinkedIn to sign up for my list. I'll be telling you more about it. And the people who are on my email insider list will actually, my career disruptor insiders, as I call them, will be the first to know about that coaching week. But make sure that you sign up for my list if you are a mid career woman and you are struggling with what's next, or how do I advance in my company, or how do I build the influence and visibility at my company. I love the company, I love my leaders, but I just don't have the visibility that I need. Then make sure that you sign up here today and tell other women that you know as well. And with that, again, I want to leave you with this. Chasing the Lion by Mark Batterson can literally, that this book, there's so many examples of how, instead of running from a lion, instead of diving into a pit to avoid the lion, you chase the lion. You chase that big dream. You chase the thing that people tell you no, you run away from. No, be scared of that thing. You chase it instead, because there is a company who needs you right now. There is a family maybe who needs you right now. There are people in your community who are looking at you right now to see the lens of possibilities, because of they see you as a role model. There's a business or a client, or whomever it is, there's someone who needs you right now. Whether you're a company, whether you're a person who is working inside of a company, there is someone who needs what you have right now. It's our job to find those people. So thank you for joining. If you joined today, I hope these questions will change your life. Even if you just reflect and journal on one, it could change the game for you. So have a great Good Friday, everybody. And of course, I can't leave you without saying, disrupt the status quo on purpose. That's my mantra, that's my tagline. Disrupt the status quo on purpose. And in order to change this world, I want you to create the things you wish existed. Have a great day.